Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it is for you when you're watching this video. Today we're going to discuss something that's super important, which is fact checking. And it's really important to discuss this idea because as we're looking through information in this digital age, the reality of the sources that we're consuming become kind of really elaborately important to garner our understanding, our logic, and so much more. So this lecture will focus on discussing that idea of fact checking strategies, including lateral reading and tracing claims back to their source, and understanding how we garner or understand this ability towards understanding facts, claims, and all that good stuff, right? So let's just jump into it, shall we? So first, it's important that we understand that claims, ideas that anyone can put into this world, and evidence, factual information that supports a claim, are going to be comprehended in a measure that is able to be identified by you, right? So anyone can make claims, especially on the internet, right? You can say this, that, and a third. Look at the podcast culture that's growing, things like Fresh and Fit, things like whatever podcast, these kind of red pill podcasts, just for an example, right? They come on there and they find half of these facts or things that center what they think is important, as opposed to evidence-based research, and then they're able to kind of talk about it in a much more deliberate way, right? Many false claims that are made on social media, often without evidence to back them up, or just enough evidence to only kind of confirm their bias, like we talked about before. High quality evidence leads to better decisions. The quality of evidence we consume affects not only our understanding of the world, but also real life outcomes such as public health. And that's where it's really important that we observe these things. So, what we need to understand when we're looking at this is how did you encounter this information? Was it on social media? Was it on the television? Was it on the radio? Right? What claims are being made? Is it backed by evidence? Is that evidence from a reputable source? You can think to our classes discuss the CRAAP method of validating the evidentiary claims. What do other sources say about this claim, right? Is it absence of evidence or is it equal skepticism, right? Presence of evidence does not automatically equate goodness, right? And so it becomes important for us within our digital age, more so than ever, to be able to garner an understanding and a comprehension of how we start understanding fact checking. So when reading articles, especially articles that present research-based information, it's important to evaluate the accuracy of the information being shared. One technique is to engage in the fact-checking process like we were talking about, and is also to use what is known as lateral reading. Oftentimes when we read, we only engage in vertical reading. Vertical reading is simply reading an article from top to bottom without leaving the article, right, to verify any of the information. Lateral reading, on the other hand, involves leaving the article you're reading and switching to other sources to verify that information that you're reading about. So it's just adjusting how we are engaging with content, right? So lateral reading is really important, period. It helps you determine an author's credibility, the intent, and the biases by searching for articles on the same topic by other writers in order to see how other people are covering the similar stories of information, right? And to search for other articles, even by the same author you're checking on. Uh, Again, to see the credibility and how much you should trust maybe or mistrust the information you're looking for. So it's really called lateral reading because you are leaving the tab or whatever it may be on the computer, tablet, phone, in this digital age, there's so many platforms, right? Opening up a new tab and searching from the other information rather than only staying within one window you're on and reading the article on, right? It's also important sometimes to incorporate VPNs or private search histories because you also will be getting search engine optimization results that you may end up getting kind of valued based on your search history, what kind of affiliation you have. So there's a lot to this, right? And professional fact checkers, by the way, when we're doing this, engage in what lateral reading is to confirm the accuracy of information. So that's why it's really recommended as students and as in consumers of information through your life to confirm the accuracy of information. And it's recommended that everyone engage in lateral reading when they're consuming information rather than just trusting the information at face value. That can be good if you have authenticity to it, but it may be important not to just believe it, right? So on the slide you're looking at, vertical reading, read an article from top to bottom without leaving the article to verify the information. That's what's most common, but we want to practice lateral, leaving the article you're reading and switching to other sources to verify said information. So on your slide now, you'll see leveling, details are removed, sharpening, details are added or emphasized, and assimilation, which is details were changed to fit with the author's purpose, sorry. So in addition to using lateral reading to check accuracy of information, another important aspect of fact-checking is tracing claims back to their said source. As we have previously discussed, sources that share research information don't always get it right. Sometimes they inadvertently or deliberately, sadly, misconstrue information that causes people to misunderstand the findings of said research, right? This is why it's crucial to trace claims back made by articles back to their sources. That way we can confirm if the information is being shared is accurate. So let's take this news article shared by CNBC for an example, right? Trace claims back to their source. Here's what makes authoritative parents different from the rest, and what psychologists say is the best parenting style. All right, cool. So this article claims that authoritative parenting is the best parenting style, but how do we know if we should trust this source and if the information is accurate? In the last module, you learned about the CRAP test, and you could use that to evaluate the credibility of the source. But in terms of checking on the accuracy of the information specifically, we want to trace this claim back to its original source, right? And to do this, we would read the article, and upon reading the article, we would see that the word research includes a link to another source, right? So you can see it here. Research tells us that authoritative parenting is ranked highly in a number of ways, but notice the hyperlink under the word research, over the word research, and that's important to notice, right? To trace claims, you should click on that link to see what source is being referenced and if the original source material, or what is the original source material. So when we click on this link, it brings us to a page, and that page then brings us to an article that was published in the Journal of Child and Family Studies. This is a peer-reviewed journal, so it's likely that the information provided is at least trustworthy, right? So here you're looking at it on your screen. The next step in regards to fact-checking the information presented in the article would be to read the article to see if the ideas written in the news article are supported by the empirical research. If the ideas presented in the media article are supported by the original source, then we can trust the accuracy of the information that was presented to us. By tracing claims back to their source, we were able to verify the information that we were reading is accurate, right? So that's where it becomes important that we need to make sure that we're doubling down. It's more work on our end, but it will allow you to be able to have a more rounded comprehension. So although we may not have time to personally fact check every single piece of information that we consume every day, it is important to keep these skills in mind and to use them when we are evaluating important information that we want to share with others or information we are using to make decisions about our lives. This is important because we often use information that we read about every day to inform decisions we make in our lives, and it's really important to ensure that our decisions are informed by accurate information instead of misleading information. It can be a lot of work to fact check, absolutely, without a doubt, right? It can be something that is going to be tedious and time consuming and maybe a little bit more than you had signed up for. But that's what you need to do to be a well-versed and understanding member of society, especially as you're consuming information that makes or helps you garner decisions or make decisions. So keep fact checking, everybody, and I will see y'all in the next lecture.